mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about episodes 1 and 2 of the new Apple TV limited series entitled The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. This new show premiered today. It stars Samuel L. Jackson and Dominique Fishback. And all I really want to do is kind of give like a brief overview of what this show is about and whether or not I think it's worth watching. I got a meme the other day. Oh, I didn't get a meme. I mean, it's like I got it in the mail or something. But I saw a meme the other day, and it was a picture of like 20 different roles that Samuel L. Jackson has been in, and the caption said something like, "So you want to talk about range?" Something to that effect. And I saw it, and I said something to the effect of like, Samuel Jackson's been in a lot of movies over a long time, and he's one of the very few people that I think has range, because I feel like he plays Samuel L. Jackson in everything. Like, he's fucking Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. He's Samuel L. Jackson in fucking Star Wars. Like, he's Samuel L. Jackson in everything. I mean, that's a little bit of a little bit of exaggeration, but I mean, he kind of does. I mean, just being honest. But I also added that I felt like this show would be an opportunity to showcase range if he has it to showcase. And boy, oh boy, this motherfucker has range to showcase, man. I read a review that kind of made the show. I'm not gonna say made the show sound slow. Be perfectly honest with you, these first 2 episodes are pretty slow. It's moving at a very deliberate pace, but for me, it's working because Samuel L. Jackson's performance is so interesting to watch. And then they introduced Dominique Fishback in episode 2, who we gotta start giving her more props, man. Like, she was dope in The Deuce. She was dope in Judas and the Black Messiah. She's already great on this. We gotta start giving her more love. I think her time is coming. But they introduce her in episode 2, and the dynamic these two share is incredible. Like, she brings kind of like an energy, a warmth, a happiness, just a positivity to a show that can be a pretty big downer at times. And she brings that kind of energy into it, but then the energy with each other, like, they kind of feed off of one another. She alters his mood. When I say his, I mean Ptolemy Gray's mood, referring to Samuel L. Jackson's character. But she kind of like brings him up and brings his mood up, and it makes for really like heartwarming back and forth between the two of them. And I think there's going to be a lot of really great moments in this short series. It's only a 6-episode series, but I think there's going to be a lot of great moments between those two. And I'm really looking forward to it. So I want to talk a little bit about the concept behind the show, what it's about. So Ptolemy Gray is 91 years old, obviously played by Samuel L. Jackson, and he is quickly moving through the stages of dementia. He's forgetting a lot of stuff. He seems aloof, frail, fragile, just foggy would be a great word to describe him. Like, he plays this very well, by the way. And I'm trying to decide where I want to go in the. I'll shoot right to the main concept real quick, and then I'm gonna go back and talk about a little bit of something else that I want to. The reason I'm putting minor spoilers in the title, I want to talk about that for a minute. But eventually, the concept of the show is that he's going to take some sort of drug that's going to restore his memory to some degree, and we are going to find out information about his past, as well as, I believe, solve a murder. I think that's where we're going with this. So that's essentially what's going to happen. But what I want to talk about, episode 1 is called Reggie. And it's called Reggie because Reggie is a main character in this episode. He's played by, his name's like Omar Miller or something. Omar something, but he was one of the guys in Eminem's like Entourage and 8 Mile. So I can't remember his name though. Like, I guess I feel like we all only remember Cheddar Bob, like, as far as names go. And what was Mekhi Phifer's character? I'll draw the blank on Mekhi Phifer's character. But I feel like the other guys, we don't really remember their names. But he was one of the guys in Eminem's crew at 8 Mile. And he is the great nephew Ptolemy, and we see him kind of like coming over. He takes care of him. Ptolemy has a very hoarderific house, not very clean, whole lot of shit he saved. He has a dead wife that he mourns, and I think when you have hoarders, there's usually some form of tragedy or something that happened that made them go from like living a normal life to kind of just like, I'm attached to these possessions and I want to keep these possessions, or I don't really care what kind of conditions I'm living in, kind of life. So Reggie comes over to take care of him, take him to doctor's appointments, take him to the bank, stuff like that. And we see how much these two care for one another during this first episode. And in the second episode, it's called Robin, she's Dominique Fishback's character, Robin. We see that Robin is now about to become Ptolemy's, I guess, new caretaker. I think she's like a distant relative. I can't recall. I think she's like the daughter of one of his relatives' friends or something like that. But the part that I'm going to call a minor spoiler is going to feel like a big spoiler, but it's really not. And it's something that's readily accessible information if you like read any kind of reviews or even a brief summary. It says something like, but Ptolemy's caretaker dies or something like that. So the caretaker is Reggie, and Reggie dies at the I believe the end of the first episode. And I was wondering how I was going to feel about this scene, because it became very obvious to me probably about 10 minutes before they actually reveal that he's dead, that he was going to be dead. And Ptolemy arrives at the funeral not knowing that it's a funeral and not knowing that he's dead. Nobody told him this. And he's asking, where's Reggie? Where's Reggie? And they draw this out for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, there's no way this reveal is going to mean shit. Like everybody, before I even got to the funeral, I'm like, yeah, Reggie probably dead. But they get to the funeral, you see people in all black. He keeps asking about Reggie. No one's telling him where Reggie's at. They're like, in a minute. I'm like, oh my God, it's so fucking obvious that Reggie's dead. Can we get to it? I'm like, there's no way this is going to pay off. I'm like, what? Why are they doing this? They lead Samuel Jackson into that room, and boy, that reaction, I was eating my words, man. It was a great, great scene. And it just goes to showcase how great of a job Samuel Jackson is already doing in this role. And in episode 2, like I said, Robin kind of takes over as his caretaker, and then we see them building a fresh dynamic. She takes him to the doctor who's going to administer these drugs that are going to help him remember things. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to save that for future videos. If you're new to this channel and you just happen to see this video, I dive pretty deep into stuff when I start reviewing these shows on an episode-by-episode basis. And I like this enough that I am going to review the final 4 episodes as they air. So this one, I'm just kind of like giving brief thoughts on how I feel about the show so far after these 2 episodes. But I'm going to be diving deeper for the remaining 4. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm going a pretty light here. But like I said, they reveal that Robin's going to be his caretaker for the rest of the series. And then he also decides that he wants to take on this mission to find out who killed Reggie. Throughout the course of these 2 episodes, we also see a lot of flashbacks, like fleeting memories that he has that kind of almost like pollute his regular life. They kind of mix in with things that are happening in his present day. He'll see somebody, he'll think it's someone else. No one will be there, and he will see this person. There appears to be some sort of mystery where possibly we don't know who this guy is. His name is like Coy Dog. I don't know where the fuck you come up with Coy Dog as a name, but I don't know if he's like a relative or a caretaker from Ptolemy's youth. And I think that they're going in a direction where this guy might have stolen some money or something and gave it to Ptolemy, and now that he has dementia, he doesn't know where this money is. I think there's going to be some sort of plot line that's going to play out revolving finding this money. I think we're going to find out more about his ex-wife. I think we're going to find out more about his past as a child. There's like some scenes of like a house burning down and like a little girl that he was friends with, and we don't really know why they showed her to us. So there's like past things that are going to be drudged up, and then also present day trying to figure out what happened to Reggie. And they drop some clues that I think watching with the captions helps with, because I feel like, I already know who killed Reggie, but that's just based off a very brief sentence that's on the screen for a hot second before they cut away to something else. And they do this a lot where you're about to be presented with useful information, but for whatever reason, Ptolemy kind of like blanks out or starts paying attention to something else, kind of, zones out. And since he doesn't hear it or he doesn't take it in, we don't either. So there's a lot of interesting things that to observe. Like I said, his being Ptolemy, like his mannerisms, the way Samuel L. Jackson plays him. There's a moment where in episode 2 where he gets this shot that's going to make him essentially have a clear head and allow him to decide if he wants to go forward with the drug that's going to at least temporarily cure his dementia. And Samuel L. Jackson, he does this so well. Like I said, Ptolemy throughout 90% of these first 2 episodes, like I said, he's very frail, fragile, aloof, foggy. It's a great performance by Samuel L. Jackson. But after he gets this shot, it very subtly, you see, I'm not going to say very subtly, but he starts to play Ptolemy just a bit sharper. And we could see him kind of just being like probably how Samuel L. Jackson is today. And then I read somewhere else that we see him like in flashbacks as a younger version of himself with an not entirely different personality, but like, probably younger, more energetic, more vibrant, as opposed to like foggy and aloof. So like essentially we might see Samuel L. Jackson play 3 different versions of the same character here. And I'm already feeling the one that's got dementia. So I'm already on board because of that. So speaking of being on board, I mentioned that I read reviews saying that that the show moves very slowly. And it does. It not a lot has happened in these first 2 episodes. They lay a lot of groundwork. They introduce you to a whole lot of characters. You might even want to take notes. A whole lot of characters. They let you know who these characters are, who they are in relation to him, and how that impacts him. He has like a board up on the wall with pictures and names with arrows pointing to who's related to who. So that way, if somebody knocks on his door and they're like, "Hey, it's me, Reggie," or "Hey, it's me," what was the other guy? Hilly. "Hey, it's me, Hilly." He can look at that board and be like, "Okay, Hilly is so-and-so's son, and this is my, his mother is my sister." Something like that. He can play that out, and he can also test them. Like, "Okay, how do I know you?" Shit like that, right? Hilly, by the way, Hilly is like kind of like I guess a thuggish kind of character, pretty young, and he's played by the guy that played, I think his name was Lionel, in Dear White People. And if you've seen Dear White People and you know this character, try to imagine that guy as a thug. He does a really good job, by the way, too. So, they clearly going to reveal a whole lot going forward with what happened in Ptolemy's past. And like I said, we're going to search for who killed Reggie. So that's pretty much my thoughts. Like I said, I'm on board. These first 2 episodes did move slow. Like I said, not a lot happened, but it's so compelling to watch what Samuel L. Jackson is doing. And again, once they introduce Dominique Fishback's character and you get them playing off of one another, you see what she's doing, what she's bringing to it, you don't get bored at all. Like at no point was I sitting there looking at my watch or thinking like, "Oh man, this is moving slow." It was one of those things where like after I watched it, I was like, "Okay, yeah, it is moving slow, but I'm not bored by it. I'm still fully engaged because Samuel L. Jackson's character is so fucking captivating." So I think that most people would probably like this show. I do these first 2 episodes in a non-spoilery kind of way to give you guys an idea of whether or not I think you should watch the show, and I enthusiastically think you should. Even if it's just for the fact that you will see Samuel L. Jackson in a way you've never seen him before, and you're still gonna probably get some motherfuckers at some point. I don't think he said it yet, but yeah, he has some moments though. I promise you that. And I think that it's something that it's going to be great to see. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, I guarantee you he's going to get some awards." I'll wait until the season's over to even think about that. But for right now, I could say his performance alone is worth watching this show. But then you add in Dominique Fishback, the dynamic that they have, the great job that she does as an actress, and that just even more so makes me want to recommend it. And then it is kind of still a mystery as well. Like, okay, all of this imagery that we see in these first 2 episodes that don't make sense to us, what's happening here? How are we going to learn about these situations? All of this mystery about whether or not he's going to be able to solve what happened to Reggie, and then how is that going to impact the present day storyline. There's a lot to unpack in these final 4 episodes. So, like, from the mystery to the acting, I think it's going to be a really fun ride. So I do recommend watching this show. I'm going to cover these final 4 episodes each week. I would say to expect videos for this late Friday, early Saturday. I get up dumb early to watch Severance and record my video for Severance before I leave to go to the office on Fridays. So I won't be able to do these videos until I get home. So you might not get them until late Friday, but stick with me. I think this is going to be a good show, and I look forward to actually not having to sit here and kind of like bumble my way through a non-spoilery review, because I didn't take many notes to talk about it. I took a shit ton of notes in my in my phone, but in the interest of not spoiling it, I didn't really put any notes here to reference, so I'm kind of just speaking off the top of my head. So if you want to see a less bumbling version of me and really dive into what we're seeing in this imagery, certain great moments, great scenes, all that good stuff, stick with me for these final 4 episodes, and I will see you guys next Friday or early Saturday for episode 3. Peace.